and as such, also a creator, right? So now you can start creating your own magic here, right? And then, as I said, 8, you vanish again. Nearly done, couple more slides. If you look at that, in a very simplified form, if you take those 8 circuits and those 8 chakras, right? Down here in the material realm, you're talking about the scientist. Right? In the next realm is you have a business, politician kind of level, you have an academic level, intellectual level, you have a community level, the artist level, the healer level, and the magician level. Now in the old days, right, we had a centralized collective, we usually had a king or a shaman or somebody to head the group. Right? And the shaman was a whole self. I also overlaying this here, if you look at the very top of a Jung's theory of process, as well as this ego development, where you go from wholeness, unconscious wholeness, to conscious unwholeness, to unconscious unwholeness, to conscious unwholeness, to conscious wholeness. Right? So you have those things, and then you overlay those different 7 areas. And what we used to have in the old days was shamans. Now we don't have them anymore. We've separated those functions. We have people in each of those. But the thing is, each one of us has all of those circuits. Each one of us has a right brain and a left brain. One of the things that always bothers me tremendously with artists is if they say, oh, I'm not a business person, I don't understand that part. And it bothers me equally when I talk to someone in the business corporate America saying, well, I'm not creative. It's bullshit. We both have both sides of the brain. We haven't trained them maybe, and we have preferences for either one of them. That's fine. But we have all 7 functions. Each one of us can think like a scientist. Each one of us can think like a business person. Each one of us can think like an academic. Each one of us can be a community bridge and builder and therapist, counselor for our friends. Each one of us can create a new story. Right now what we need most, and I started this off by saying we need a paradigm. What is a paradigm? A paradigm is a whole bunch of stories. Each one of you creating stories every single day with how you live. Right? If you want to be an artist, create a new story. Create something that nobody knows yet. Create a new kind of life. Right? And as such, that's related to your art, is your religio, is your personal practice. You figure out what works for you and how you then go up and be a healer. Heal yourself, heal others. And ultimately, when you get to the point, become a magician. Right? We now live in a decentralized network collective. Everybody has to be a shaman now. You can't just say, oh, that guy's going to do that job. You have to step up to yourself, learn yourself about these things, and integrate those functions again. I'll let you go in 2 seconds. You are the eye of God. Right? One of my favorite exercises when I'm in airports or large crowded places is to walk around and look at all those people that are coming up towards me and say, I'm looking at the eyes of God. Every single person of us, every single one of us is that. You are that, and you're only limited by your propensities. Some of them you can change more easily than others, but you can change them. You can change anything in your life and transform anything in your life. There's plenty of evidence in the past that this has happened, even down to the part where physicality has changed. The next part is, your job is to make the conscious unconscious and remove your projections and replace them with relationships. And enlightenment all the way down through hierarchy. Carl Jung said that enlightenment doesn't come from imagining light beings. Enlightenment comes from bringing light to the darkness. Right? And pulling the spirit all the way down, even though it might be uncomfortable. And then taking it from all the way down, back up here, and anything that happens to you in this material world, take it and rise it up to spirit. Ask, why is this happening? Right? Be religions. Be aware of all the archetypal patterns around you. And while you're separate with everything, you're also whole. If you start asking yourself, if you want to know very quickly how that works, just look at your hand and say, oh, this is my hand, this is not the air around it. Right? The separate particles and these particles. And if you go zooms deeper, at some point you go into the fact that all these electrons have already exchanged tons of different electrons around the room. And really all between those particles, there's really just space, and it's the same space within me, it is in this table, as in everything else. So where do I start and where do I end? I don't know. I am one with everything, and I'm also separate from my definition of I. Yeah. You're here to experience, process, and express that. Terence McKenna said that our need to feel part of this world demands that we express ourselves in creative activity. If you don't do anything here with this life, you'll always feel like you haven't been here. Now, we all look for legacy, and people try and find it in their families, try and find it in their work. It really doesn't matter. It's like whatever you do, bring legacy, create something. And that's where I come in here to this idea of conscious creative, right? Coming back to that observer thing, and my goal to change you as an observer. And my goal is to become a different observer every single moment. I want to understand more, learn more, see more, so then I have more activities available to me, and I can be creative in new ways and create new solutions to things that people think are insoluble. And ultimately, I do dissolve in that little beautiful joy-love thing. I can experience that in my life all day long, because joy comes from doing my dharma, comes from doing what I'm here to be doing, and love comes because I'm choosing to connect and I'm choosing to understand that while I'm separate, I'm also one with everything. And has nothing to do with what anybody else does. Very final slide is that change is happening anyways. And right now people talk a lot about change in 2012 and all that good stuff. Don't wait for 2012, start today. Right? Change yourself today. Why be like, oh, in 2012 something's going to happen? Keep moving. You know what I mean? Especially if it's happening in 2012, there's not much time left. So do something now. Right? Do that. Be willful, be here, choose to be here, and express that. And imagine if everybody did that, and if everybody walked around with that understanding, the world would be a much nicer place. Thank you.